The Germans get to activate again. The Soviets just sitting, doing nothing. All right. 2 activation cards in the deck. It does make playing the Soviets difficult in this system, I must admit. Okay. So the first step is marker removal. So we remove all these ops complete markers. It's almost like they knew what they were doing. And the outer command marker. Okay. I'll leave those. Let's just delete those. Okay. So that's the first step. Next step in the sequence of play for them is, that's what's called the refresh command status. So they're still under the effects of this electronic warfare. So each of these units that are not with the HQ need to take a morale check. So the N11 unit, rolling 2d6, they are in command. The infantry, they are out of command. Now, which helps. Okay. Tank, the Leopard 2 is in command. The infantry in the J6 village in command, and the Marder in I7 in command. Okay, so that's the command status determined. Missile, no missile reloads required. They have no disruptions. Off-board artillery strikes. So will they attempt to bring any more artillery onto the board? Let's have a look. Drawing the card. There is not an artillery request in that card. Okay. Next up is actions. So we will now determine the action for this Marder. It is the closest unit. It's within 2 hexes, so the actual missile weapon is too close to be utilized. That black triangle means it can only affect from 3 hexes and beyond. So let's determine what this unit will do. It says, if disrupted, LRM, which it's not disrupted, so it won't do that. It says fire, but it can't fire with that weapon system. So I now look at the next option below. It says fire or move. Well, it says fire as an option. Again, we can't fire. And then it says move. Right. Looking at that situation, it's got a definite need to fire, as noted by this card. It can't fire on me effectively at that range, but it could if it moved back 1 hex. So I will now quickly check the charts on fire and movement. Yes, there's charts for everything in this, guys. No, it's not that one. It's on the back of something, on the front of something. Fire and movement. Okay. So it hasn't got an enhanced fire and movement capability. So therefore, referring to the table here, any ground unit with black, blue, or green AP or HE spend at least 1 movement point up to half. It will be -2 fire dice, minimum of 1. So if it went back 1 hex into M12, it would still be able to fire into my units there with 2 dice rather than the 4. That's what this card is sort of telling me. You know, fire is mentioned a couple of times, and there is a move there. It's not a combination. It doesn't say fire move, which would be a direct order to do so. It's not telling me to assault in there. So I'm going to say it will take advantage of its weapon. It will move back 1 hex. Now, if I had something that could react to that could see that, which I don't, my disruptor units can't react. But if I did have something that could see into that hex, then they could have fired as opportunity fire. As I said, I do not. So that moves back as a fire and move order, and then fires on my already disrupted unit. So it's 3 hex range, so we know that their hit value is improved by 1, but because they've moved, it knocks the amount of dice that they're rolling down by 2. So it's going to be rolling 2 dice, needing 3s to hit. It scored 1 hit. Okay, so now I need to roll again the 5 or 6 to save for that hit. I got lucky. Okay, rolling now for missile ammo. Whenever you fire missiles, you always roll for missile ammo, which is based on their morale. They become missile low. Okay, we've got missile ammo. So reloading missiles. Okay, so they're out of ammo, and they are also now ops complete. The out command unit won't do anything. So now we check for the HQ, which is out of line of sight. So I'll look under the secondary orders. It says AEO, closest to the lowest firepower, good ordered unit, fire. As this unit's out of command, don't think it should follow that instruction. Again, it doesn't really give me any definitions in the actual rulebook there. What actually happens with out of command units when it comes to this sequence here. Good order AEO, closest to unit, just acted, move towards. Okay, that is a good ordered unit. AEO, closest to a unit that just acted, move towards. Okay, so it either brings it to the village there, or here. Well, move towards is actually, so let's move into there. Remember, the stacking is 2. HQs don't count towards stacking, so that is within stacking limits. And we will mark it now ops complete. Okay, back to these guys at the back. Okay. Sometimes these guys are a little difficult to interpret, but there's no one disrupted on their side. Got no one in line of sight. Everybody else has activated up here, apart from the out command guy, which I'm not allowing to activate under one of these cards. And the Marder. Seems happy as well. Okay. Right. That ends their turn there. So I will now draw the next card. Battlefield event. Okay. So let's roll in 2d6 and see what we get. This is event 9. Okay. As I said, there are a lot of charts. Sometimes it's difficult to find which one we're referring to. So battlefield events. Yeah. Okay. High speed approach. One side. Okay. So this was 1 to 3 NATO, 4 to 6 Warsaw Pact. Okay, so NATO activates. So effectively, NATO have had 3 activations now, while my guys are just sitting around doing nothing or having command difficulties or whatever. All right, it says your troops make good time to the objective. Activate 1 friendly formation for a modified formation impulse. When actions occur in that impulse sequence, units of your activated formation may only execute movement or move and fire actions. Your units are subject to enemy opportunity fire as usual when moving. Okay. So it's effectively a complete activation again for them. So the first step is refresh. So they remove all. Let's eat all admin markers there. Next up is command control. So let's determine the command control of M12. They're okay. The unit stacked with now the infantry is stacked with the headquarters stack. They're fine. Units at the back. Okay, the Marder is out of command. Okay. We now then determine missile reload. Because again, they still have no disruptions. So checking missile reload. There is a table for this. Okay, missile reload table. So reverse this one, yes. Okay, so they're going to take a morale check again. Right, so they failed. Okay, so they are a vehicle. Marder. Okay. Transport with a green ATM, yes. Infantry fighting vehicles. If the missile reload attempt fails, place a no missile ammo marker on the unit. So in other words, that was their one and only shot that they actually had. I flip that to no missile ammo. So they're out of ammo. Okay. I'm going to stick that under the counter. It's easy enough to refer to when I just move the mouse. I do not like obscuring units at the best of times. When I'm playing the physical board game, most of these markers I now have are see-through plastic, so I can actually still see the units. But at least on this, I can just hover over and it shows me what's in there. Okay, so that's the missile reload step. Next up, disruption removal, none. And then we have the action phase. Missile reload, then disruption. Yeah, just make sure. Oh no, before we move on to the actions, the off-board artillery strike. HQ has now moved up. It has got enemy in line of sight. Let's determine if they actually drop any more artillery. No. Phew. Okay. So let's now determine if what they do. I've got 2 options here. I will just start with this unit. You know what? I'm not sure which hex. I'm going to roll a dice. 1, 2, 3. The M12 hex will activate. Check first. No. So we're checking for the one with the HQ. Right, this is per stack. So let's have a look what's they've got down here. They've got enemy within point blank range. It says fire. Okay. Which the Leopard 2 will do. This is going to hurt. Okay. So 3x range. It's got a fire value of 4 at 3, but that's point blank, so it's 4 at 2. So that only actually misses on 1s. And it's rolling 4 dice. Okay. 1 miss, 3 hits. Okay, I can only save one of those, but let's see if he does manage to. It does. So 2 hits go through. Okay, which will eliminate the BMP. Okay. Now, the infantry that they're carrying, we need to determine what happens to those. So I'll refer to the rules. This has been changed. So in my printed rule book, it's incorrect. I'll just check for my updated. If a ground transport unit is eliminated, roll D6. On the result of 1 to 3, the passengers are reduced. Roll 4 to 6, the passengers are eliminated. They are reduced. Okay. Right. So the BMP leaves a wreck in the hex. So let's put it back there for the moment and place a wreck. Wreck in that hex now. There is the BMP. I will now move to the holding box of casualties. One of those disrupt markers marked disrupt. My infantry are reduced in there. And the Leopard 2 is now marked ops complete. What I actually did forget to do, and it didn't need it, is the Leopard 2's HQ actually gave it 2 extra dice. It should have been rolling 6 dice. That's the effect of the HQ. It didn't need it, as you can see. So place ops complete on here. What are the infantry doing? Well, referring to the same card, it also says fire. They're not in point blank range for fire or assault. They're at long range for the fire. So they could assault there, but that would be they're on the defensive. So they could fire long range. No. They're not at point blank range now because they have got anti-tank missiles. No effect. They've got no one else in line of sight. So moving to the infantry, their infantry is at long range where it says execute counteractions. Counteractions. Defensive mode. AO within line of sight of most units. Move and fire. Well, the infantry could move 1 hex and fire into my disrupted guys. Counteractions. Defensive fire. That's what it says do. Let's move. So now move close enough to fire. They are a moving unit. Any ground unit with black, blue, or green AP or HE -2 firepower. If it does move, expend at least 1 movement point. So that'll give it no firepower. Sorry, I know I'm sort of spending a bit of time on this. I'm sort of trying to get my head around what these cards would mean. So he could move into that X, but not actually fire because he has no fire potential. So looking at that cap AO within line of sight of unit, or most units, move and fire. He can move, but he won't be able to fire. So therefore, no, he goes back. He didn't make that move. And the next instruction says move towards VO hex. So I think it would stay in there and keep itself fresh to help protect the leopard, which has expended itself. So let's do that. Now we'll mark them. Yeah, okay. The M12 hex, the marder in there, which we now know has got no missiles. Okay, but he still has a nifty little gun on him, machine guns. And they are within normal range of my unit. It says fire. Closest vehicle. Well, there are no vehicles. Otherwise, it's then, so ignore that one. Off-board or on-board indirect fire. No, it's not an indirect fire unit. Move and fire. Okay, move and fire. So again, its movement is 2, so it subtract, it's black, sorry, it subtract 2 dice if it moves. Okay, it's got a range of 3. It'll be firing at most effects without the move part of the command. So let's do that. It's going to be rolling 2 dice at 5. It's in range 4. If it moves actually into there or there, it will then actually lose those 2 dice because it's a black number. 2 dice at 5. That's 1 hit. My guys in the wreck, it's got an S. They get soft cover, so they do get some protection from the wrecks. So that's again a 5 or a 6. No effect from the shot, and that is their mark. Ops complete. Yes, these cards do require quite a bit of interpretation, and unfortunately more judgment calls than I was anticipating, but it's still creating a narrative. Okay, the entry at the back. It's actually now telling me highest firepower, AEO, closest to a unit that just acted. That's the unit that just acted. Fire. Okay. The infantry are out of range. I mean, well, they're not out of range. They are in long range, or whatever this version, long or extended range. I also play the Nations of War system, and the terminology I get mixed up between the two. This is long range in this particular one. Okay, long range shot. Which would be 2 dice at 6. Short range, point blank decreases the required to hit number. Long range increases. So it'll be 2 dice at 6 at that unit. That's what it's telling me to do. Let's do this. Ops complete. 2 dice at 6. 1 hit. Okay, I again require 5 or 6 to save. I didn't save this time. Okay, so the unit is now eliminated. Move to the casualty box. Well, with 3 activations, in a row, my little foray on top of that hill there was proved to be a mistake at the end of the first turn. And that can hurt. That can hurt you. Okay, next card. electronic warfare. Okay. 1 to 3 affects NATO. No, it's affecting me. So some NATO jamming is getting through. So let's clone that. Let's flip that over. Oh, there's no flip over, so no point in cloning it then. Admin markers, electronic warfare. Okay. Next card. Finally, I get to activate. Unfortunately, after the electronic warfare. Okay, so I now need to determine what I'm going to actually do. We've got no one in my line of sight. We know the enemy have concentrated here. So the question I need to look at is, do I push the assault onto this village? Because I do need to take the village. I've just lost one of my platoons, so I'm down to 5 platoons, 2 lots of tanks. Do I rush this position? Because they are at least at the present moment ops complete, which is going to be useful. It all depends on how many of my guys I get to pass this morale check to get the guys up the hill. Or the other option is I go through the mines and rush the J6 town. 2 options, really. My morale is 6, so 6 or less for my units to pass the morale checks. So going through again the turn sequence, we have refresh. Well, I've got nothing to refresh because nothing was complete. Command status. Okay, so I'm going to start with the units furthest from my HQ. 260, the 2 T62s. Top one passes. Second one, all right, they are in command. So their old radios probably are too old to be affected by the electronic warfare. 011 Hex. He's in command. R11. He is not. Command. And then the 2 units below those. Well, all things considered, that wasn't too bad. No missiles to reload. No disruption to remove because it's all being eliminated. Off-board artillery strikes. As I can't see anybody with my HQ and I don't have any recon units, no off-board artillery. Actions. Okay, I need to declare what I'm going to do with my actions. So, let's see, we could try and rush here now. Moving up the hill, cost an extra movement point, so that'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But I'll be, as their ops complete, my guys 1 at 4 to their 2 at 4. Not great. Though I could come up here and unload the infantry. How much movement points? I believe it's half. I think I better check. Yes, it'll cost half my movement value to dismount those actual infantry. Going up the slope costs an extra movement point, so the vehicle could go 1, 2, 3, and then dismount, and then the infantry could be placed out here. But this is all open ground to the Germans, and as we just saw, they're going to get 2, possibly 2 actions next round and go first. Again, it could be decimated like I was over here. So the other option is coming round through the minefields, but then again, it's a random determination if those minefields actually hurt me. So the other option is I dismount the infantry to start with. They move, and then next turn, then I'm starting to run. You know, time is also of an essence. So what to do? Well, let's do the easy options. Let's get these T62s up. 1, 2, 3, 4. That'll get a little bit of cover. 5. Ops complete. I'm not going to stack both in the same hex, but we are going to bring them up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep them back. Ops complete. So which brings me back to these units here. I have technically got 4 active platoons. I could move and fire with these units. That'd be -2 dice. That'd be 1 at 4 with a missile. Well, 1 at 3 because it'd be close range. Can't go within 2 hexes, getting denoted by that black triangle. So moving into here. Okay. Let's try that. The armor on that, again, that leopard is so good. 1 dice is not really going to scratch his paint. The best thing is if I can get my infantry in there. If I was on the road, because the road negates the hill, if I'd been here, it'd been 1, 2, 3 infantry in. I'm not on the road, so I've got to pay for that hill. 1, 2, 3. Place the infantry adjacent. You know, I'm actually starting to think that might be a plan. Is to move all these vehicles to 3 hexes and dismount the infantry as close as possible to these guys. So with the HQ one, that would be 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, dismount. This guy would then go 1, 2, 3, dismount. I get 2 in each of those. Or 1, 2, 3, and dismount. Yeah, still either way. These guys are too far. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, or they could move into the woods on this, up the slope here. 1, 2, 3. The slope makes that 4. All right, let's do this then. Okay. All right. There's a whole lot there. Yeah. 1. This is one of the reasons why it's beneficial to play with the counters. 2, 3. Okay. At which point they will dismount the infantry. There's no reaction from the enemy here because they're all ops complete. So we'll dismount the infantry into there. HQ will stay there. Okay. 2, No, in actual fact, they'll move 1, 2, 3 to be able to dismount the infantry there. One of these guys will go 1, upslope 2, into the woods 3, 4. Again, I should be marking these ops complete. Five, 6. As you can see, that one of the beeps here is like, oh, there's lots of red crosses here now. Okay, we can see these have got grey markers down the side, some of the grey units. These are Soviet units, but on a quick glance, it can be a little confusing. And the last one. I don't want to sit over here. So I think sitting back in that woods would be useful. So 1, 5 into there. Ops complete. So the out command units can't do anything. Didn't receive the order. All the other Soviet vehicles bundling past them didn't shake them at all. Okay. Last card, should imagine end of operations. Okay. So we now go through marker removal phase. So I remove all the markers from the board. Delete admin. Okay. We now check, right, well, the German one, the EW reducing is automatically deleted. And the one on my unit, I have to take them out. They pass, so that's now EU reducing as well. Okay, remove all those markers there. The cards are then returned to the formation deck. I will reshuffle the deck of cards for the turn, for the AI. We then move the turn marker onto turn 3. Okay. Well, the game system hurt me there with the 2 formation cards plus the random event going out for the Germans. I'm on the hill. Hopefully I can get to activate first. If I can, my infantry's in. I can't. Well, it could be slaughter and mayhem on the top of that hill. But I felt I had to take the gamble. Time's against me. Well, I say time, I had 8 turns. Second turn just completed. I hope that was all okay. If I've made any errors, please mention it in the comments. I'll try and correct it for the next video. Or if your comment is way after the videos, I'll put a comment in the comment section as well. Like and subscribe. All encouragement helps. And if you just want to make a comment referring to something else you'd want me to have a look at in the future, again, please do so. Thank you, and goodbye until the next video.